Hello,
Hey,
hello. Hi,
hey.
everyone. This is Dave and Roxanne.
Happy Wednesday. It's a, what's this again?
New day, new
It's a
you.
new day. It's a new you. We get confused with the episodes. If this is the first time you're doing the business page, we do these episodes once, twice, sometimes over 3 times per week. But we are on a journey of 90 days of go lives. We're gonna be with you every day, wherever we are.
Yeah.
Still doing the things that we're doing, like the new day, new you. So if you had a tough day yesterday, you always can have this episode designed for you to encourage you, to inspire you, to keep going, right? So
Yes. So it's day 3 of 90 days. So we committed to do a 90 days go live challenge. And yes, it will be interesting because usually we do go live at least once a week, maybe maximum 3 times or sometimes once only, right? In a week. But we committed that way we can show you where we are, what we do on a daily basis as well. So, if this is your first time tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from. We always love to know how global we are in this community. So we are currently at our home in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Tomorrow we'll be flying to Vancouver
so
for 2 nights.
so we're gonna do a go live in the airport, hopefully if we have time. But
Or maybe when we go there.
Yeah. So we typically design our new day, new you with a question. What's the question today?
So the question today is, what are the 3 steps we did to crush our huge
If you're
dreams?
watching this live or replay and you have a huge dream, drop the number one in the chat. And
And this is actually the we thank God, we posted earlier as well that we celebrated a huge milestone in our online business. So this is actually the exact steps we did to crush those.
it's a huge milestone. And the reason why is because when we started this online business, almost almost 6 years now. It's going to be 6 years
Mm-hmm.
in October 18. There was a legacy milestone, a legacy position that we saw in the online business that the affiliate company is actually going to provide if you hit a certain number of sales and how your group has grown as an organization, right? And when you hit that, they will actually incentivize you a certain, like at the time it was 5,000 a month. Now it's 6,000 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Roxanne and I were just kind of discussing and say, you know what, if we work hard at this is more than your pension if you work 30 years in the city of Calgary. So we said, we prayed for one, just to hit one legacy position. But thanks be to God, after almost 6 years of doing this, this was our third legacy position, and it's incredible. That's why it's amazing. And again, this is the 3 steps we used to do that. So we shared this with our leadership group. We're going to share this with you. So we probably won't go into too details because this is like a master class. So the first thing we did is this.
Yes. Hello, hello. Hi, Pong Wang. Glory Elizabeth from Seattle, Washington. Thanks for tuning in. Diam Nguyen from Toronto, Canada. Yes, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome as well.
All
Thank
right, first thing we're gonna dive in because we have to pick up a son. Let's do this.
you.
Again, we dive into really in depth in this, but the first one is dream big and write it down. We
Yes.
heard of dream big, but the second part is even more important. Write it down, right?
Yeah, dream as big as you can and put your goals in writing. A lot of us, we can dream big, right? But the question is, have you written it down? Have you put it in, in a vision board, in your notebook, in your journal, and not just writing it down, but also looking at it every single day, right? For us, as much as possible, we look at it in our phone, in our
Yeah.
bedroom, right? As much as possible, because if your goals are not, if you can't see your goals, right, then it's not gonna happen because you're gonna forget, right? They say, like, what is it, goals in, like, insight and all this stuff.
It
I
is.
forgot. Yeah. And it says as well, how far you can see determines how far you can go.
And Roxanne was saying earlier that the reason why people don't hit their goals because their goals are unseen. You don't see your
Yeah.
goals, right? So it's kind of like a lighthouse, right? It's like you always have to see the lighthouse, which is your goal. Because if you're actually diverted somewhere else, at least you know where it is. And it's important to have your goals everywhere, right? That is the key. So in fact, and this is there's a study that was done. This is an in-depth study, right? They said that 42% of people, it says people who write down their goals are 40 to 42% are more likely to achieve them. 42%, that's a big number, right?
Mhm.
And that's why you need to be bold enough to write it down, because that's almost 50%. If there's two people that wants to, let's say, make 100,000 in a year, if the person just thinks about it, the other person writes it down, that's a 42% chance of making it happen. But here's the next line. It says, telling a friend, right? Oh, it's there. Telling a friend increases this rate 78%. And when you have an accountability partner and you tell this person, that's why we're always not only write it down, we're bold enough to say it. That's what we've done in every goal we
Yeah,
have,
I think
every big goal.
the mistake that people some most likely do is they're shy to tell it to people, right? They don't want to write it down because they're probably gonna, they think, oh, if I write it down, maybe it's not gonna happen, I'll be disappointed. And most of all, sometimes they will, write it down, put it in a vision board, but they don't want to show it to people. They don't want to say, hey, my goal is this, right, for this
Mhm.
year or the next 10 years, the next 5 years. You most some people, they don't want to share it because they don't want to disappoint themselves, or they don't want other people to laugh at them. But it says here 78% likely it will happen if you say it, not
You know
just
what's a
writing it
big
down.
goal that Roxanne had set it for
Oh yeah.
years, and we failed many, many times, but it eventually happened. What's that goal?
Yes, I was, I think, 19 years old, 20 years old when I told my mom, my dad,
And everybody in
and
the world.
everybody, my sisters, the world, that I'm gonna retire them. I'm gonna, the first time I met Dave on a business, I told him, hey, my goal at the time, he's my manager, he's my friend, he's my
Mentor.
my mentor. This is my goal. I want to retire my parents, right? And some of my friends or some of my family, they laugh at me and saying, hey, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. How are you gonna do that? But you know what? The good thing is my parents are supportive and they cheer on us. They cheer on me. And when we got married, he knows what's his, what he's dealing with. But he supported me, and it took what? It took 15 years, 14 years to happen. But I, we help our parents.
Were we frustrated? Were we disappointed? Were we at times ashamed of
Mhm.
announcing it and not making it after 24 business failures? We talked about this all the time, that we failed 24 businesses. But no, every new business, Roxanne would say, the reason we're doing is we're going to retire Roxanne's mom, right? Roxanne's dad, right? That's what we did. And because we announced it, even if it took a while, right?
Yeah.
It has a 78% chance of happening. Now it's 100% because she did it last year. It's been how
Yeah.
many months now?
9 months.
Almost
My
a
mom
year.
is retired now. She's in Las Vegas. She's coming home
5 years
tomorrow.
earlier. She was 60 before she turned 60, or she was 60
She was on before her birthday,
before.
but then it's 60 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
60. She's supposed to retire at the age of 65, and we say you don't need that anymore because we're gonna
Hmm.
support you in retirement. So write it down and announce it to an accountability partner, or if you're bold enough, to your
Hmm.
family, what your goal is, because it gives you extra accountability. Right, that's the first one. In fact, it's back. It's not just like a science study. We always love,
Hmm.
because of Dave and Roxanne, we always love backing it with biblical principles, because the word of God is what you can stand on, and the promise is always true, right? Before today and tomorrow. So Habakkuk 2, 2 and 3 says this: write the vision and make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie, right? It seems slow, wait for it. If it seems to wait for it, it will surely come, it will not delay. I love what it says in the beginning. It says, write the vision and make it plain, right? Which means simply is it's very clear what you want. Most people are unclear. They would say, I want to make more money. How much more? 25 cents more, a dollar more, or from 50,000 to 100,000, right? Retire Roxanne's parents, very clear. How big is the house that you want? You have to make it
Hmm.
plain. If someone reads it, they know exactly what you want, right? That's the first key. But the promise here is what I love at the end. It says, if it seems low, wait for it. And here's the promise: it will surely come.
Hmm.
It will not. It didn't say it may come. Probably it will come. It says it will surely come. But the requirement is dream big. Write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down, make it plain. Vision board, write it down. This is what we did for every single massive goal, including the one that we just crushed, right? if we when we bought this home, we made it plain very clearly to God that we want this house paid off.
Yeah.
We even before even we bought it, and I think or after we bought it, we had a vision board that says house paid off, mortgage free, right away,
Mhm.
right? That's key number one. And here's key number two. Key number two is this: do more than the average. Do more than the average. And this is where a lot of people make a mistake because they think that you have a vision board, it's plain now. They don't do the work, right?
Yes, human being actually is naturally lazy. I mean, we tend to do the easiest way, right? We tend to, it's actually our human nature. We tend to do what's convenient, what's easy, right? Like, really, like, you really have to do more than the average. If the average people works, 40 hours, 50 hours a week, can you do extra, right? For, of course, not in your job, but extra work for your business, for not for your dreams, right? So really do more than the average. Like I love what it says here. How can one achieve a crazy dream if you're not willing to do something crazy?
If you're not willing to do something crazy, we did a lot of crazy things in our journeys online business and even before this. And people would think you guys are insane, right? Yeah. And one of the things, the crazy things we did is because we found out that in this online business you need advertising budget. And
Hmm.
some it was way more than we even had. One of the craziest things we did, we were driving a Mercedes Benz, right? And it cost us 1,000 a month, monthly insurance, everything, right? One of the craziest thing we did is we sold that thing, right? Because that will release us 1,000 a month, and it would be extra income for us to invest in our advertising budget, right? So, well, that's one crazy thing we did, right? There's a lot of crazy things we did, like you know,
We also, at the time, we were renting a two-bedroom apartment. It's not even our own, right? But we had to sacrifice our privacy. We rented that second bedroom to someone else that we didn't know, so that we can have extra income, right? So that frees us more cash flow so that we can fund our business, right? We also, sold a lot of things that we don't use so that we can have extra. We did cleaning, right, part time. I think we did it for 9 months so that we have extra income, aside, so that we can fund our business, right? Because we learned, over time that a real business requires sacrifice and money in the beginning. At the beginning, you have to feed it, right? So whatever is your goal, you have to sacrifice most of the time your time and effort and money.
so you have to do extra to achieve extraordinary. What is extra for you, right? And here's the thing, the thing that we've done for years, even before the online business, the extra thing that we
Oh
did,
yeah.
and people, we have done this, and this is the foundation of any business, is that we've always invested in books, in
Yeah.
personal development, and in a lot of things.
Live events. We always go to seminars. I think we're really big on that. That even at the time that we weren't making, profit or earnings at the time, we always invest in those, seminars, personal development courses. So we would, there are times that we had to drive for 14 hours,
Yeah,
14 hours to go to Vancouver. And other times we went to
because
Utah.
we were there to learn from an expert in the industry,
Yeah.
right? We barely had any money, but we knew she was going to be the closest we could get to him was in Vancouver. We brought our, the group that we had at the time. We would rent a van
Yeah.
and we would drive there, and then on the weekend, and then we would come back,
Yeah,
right?
we would drive from Friday and then go home on Sunday, right? Because we have work the next day, right? So those sacrifices, like, like, because you have to do extra, right? Like, always think, okay, what would the average people will do during Friday night
Do
or
the opposite.
weekends? So do the opposite, right?
Yeah. And not just that, I remember we would drive from here to, was it Utah? Yeah, we drive to Utah. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't know, like a lot of hours of driving. We get there, we go to a convention and go home, right? And that's what is the extra in your field, right? To really achieve your goal, right? If you're in the online business, the other extra we did is every breathing hour, extra hour we have, we would do the online business, right? We would launch ads, we would
Yeah, and
learn.
and because sometimes, some people, I think they're too perfectionist. So if you're too perfectionist, you really have to learn how to make mistakes. In the real world, mistakes are good. So and unlike in school, right? Like if you get an F, you get a D, right? Like it sucks, right? But in this business, right? Or in whatever goal you have, right? You really need to launch. If you want to write a book, then launch it. Like I want to write a book, but I haven't. But whatever that is, because some people would, let's say, Martha, right? I want to learn this right to help others, right? In order to achieve your goals, you have to take action, whatever that is, right? Because sometimes, like we want to, like, oh, I want to know everything, right? But you just need to take one step on that one.
I love I love the proverb that says, it says, all hard work brings a profit, but merely talk leads only to poverty. So if you wrote down your goals, even you told everyone, right?
Mhm.
Step one, you told everyone, I'm just gonna achieve this. But if you don't put in the extra, the hard work, right,
Yeah.
the effort, right, it just merely talks. It will lead you to poverty, right? So you have to be bold enough to even take the action, to achieve that goal. So lastly, and this is, um,
The third one.
yeah, the third one, sow a seed in others, right? And we learned this recently, and this is really, really powerful. And we didn't even know that we were doing this, right? Is that, on the way down or up in your journey, you have to find a way to find opportunities to give and bless others in the area of your desires, right?
Mhm.
If it's finances, right, plant that seed, right? And we've shared this with many people that, even when we were $86,000 in consumer debt, we've committed as much as you can to give 10% of what we make every time, right? And that was one thing we've done. There were times that we would get massive tax returns, and if your income is small, it's easy to give them 10%. But if when your income gets bigger and bigger, then it becomes harder sometimes, especially if you're still struggling with finances. So
Yeah, I remember. I think I've heard it from one of our mentors, Bo Sanchez. A lot of people will say, "Hey, Lord, I want to earn. I want to win in the lotto, right? Because if I win, I'll give 10% of that, or I give $1 million, right?" But then he said that, what? If you cannot give 10% of what you currently have, then it won't even happen, right? You cannot give. And we tested it ourselves, right? Like, I remember, the tax refund. That was, I think we did receive 10,000, right? And that's 10% of that is what? 1,000, right? So we were tempted. We're like, 1,000, that's a lot of money, right?
yeah,
1,000 to give, right? To tithe from the 10,000. And, it reminded us, and we're like, okay, like we were, kidding around and say, Lord, can we just give maybe 500? We don't have a lot, right? But then because we learned that, hey, if you can give with what you have, then it will stretch you and God will bless you more. And you know what? We did that. We type on that one, we give that $1,000, right? And then more and more blessings. So that's over the years. I think that's the biggest thing that help us get to the next level, because when you learn to give, God will give you more
and,
because
and
he knows that you can take care of it.
and not only that is you trust the blesser
Yeah.
instead of the blessing, right? Because you when you give, you commit to something and you release something that
Mhm.
you think, oh my god, is a lot of money. It's incredible what happens in your trust factor in the big things that God will do in your life, right? Which is amazing. And recently we um if you search this, Terry Savelle Foy, she's incredible. She talks about this concept of Genesis 26:12 to 13, right? And this particular verse, Genesis 26, verse 12, there was a famine in the land, right?
Mhm.
Famine means lack. There's drought, struggle, right? If this is happening in your journey right now, that you're struggling, there's drought, there's famine in the land, like a pandemic happening, right? That's what happened in Isaac in Genesis 26:12, right? But despite that is happening, he continued to sow seed in the land, continued to sow seed, and within 1 year, if you read this verse, he reaped 100-fold in his business. And Teresa Valfoy, if you search that lady, she started to plant Genesis 26:12. She's like, I want in on this. So she told everybody in the ministry, she told everybody in her business that every time we have an opportunity to sow a Genesis 26:12 opportunity to sow a seed when there's a seed when there's a need, let's do it. She's like, I'm not being over spiritual, but they would give 2,612, right? The ministry, or like for a tip, maybe 261 and 12 cents, something like that. So they continue to do that within 1 year in their ministry and then their business. And she said it was like December of, I think, 2022. And this was like during the pandemic. They're like wondering what's happening. People were ordering books, doing a lot of things. And then they all of a sudden realized Genesis 26:12. They were sowing seeds,
Yeah.
right? In their famine, because and they were thinking like, how can we do this? Is the pandemic, right? How can we grow 100-fold? But within 1 year, by sowing seeds in time of need, right, they started to reap 100-fold. So this year, we're even gonna 10x, our giving, our trusting, because we were giving 10%, but we were gonna continue to do 26:12 everywhere we can see an opportunity to do it. So so in your case, it may not be money, right?
Mhm. You can sow seeds with your time, with your money, with your
Talents.
talents, right? So, ask yourself, what are the opportunities that you can give, right? Like if you're good you know, um, in math, right? In creativity, right? Volunteer your time, right? Help somebody, right? And like with your resources, with there's always something that you can give. You can bless others. She also mentioned Teresa Bell Foy. I think she was looking for, she was expecting to, she wanted to have a baby, right? Because it's been a long time. She's been waiting to have a baby, and because she wanted to have a baby, she sowed a seed in volunteering her time to orphanage,
Yeah.
to help babysitting, to give clothes for babies, buy stuff for kids, right? So that's what she did. So, for example, if you want to sow seeds in the business, in your business or in your dreams or goals, whatever that area, then sow seeds regarding that, right?
Yeah, this reminds me of one of the top leader in online business, right? She's from Ontario, Vietnamese lady. Her name's Lan. When she started a business, she studied the training side, and she was so well versed, but she didn't have a mentee yet. So she was looking for anyone that was local to her in Ontario that she can help. So she found someone not even financially connected to her. She just started to help her. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. Today, she's a top leader in the business because she sowed a seed in her time of need.
Mhm.
And she did this principle number 3: sow a seed in others, especially if there's a famine in your land right now, especially if you're struggling, nothing is happening, you want to go to the next level, nothing, and you've been maybe in this business or in a business
Yeah.
or in something in a financial struggle for a while, right? Sow a seed, right? Sow a seed in your time of need, and
Yeah.
that's what we did to
Yeah,
achieve.
from Genesis 26, verse 12 to 13, it says, Then Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. The man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous.
It's incredible. So this is the exact 3 steps we did, right, to
Mhm.
achieve those big goals, and we stuck to it, and we got here in this online business. We're gonna be 6 years on October 18th. So I hope that gave you value. This is a master class. We've gone on 23 minutes. I hope you got value for a lot of you that stayed. Thank you for doing that. If you know anybody that can also get value from this, share this, and
Yes.
so thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for all the comments. I wouldn't be able to highlight you right now, but we'll respond on those ones. Thank
That
you
is
guys.
another episode of It's
It's
a
a
New
new day.
Day.
It's
It's
a
a new
new
you.
you.
God bless
God bless
everybody.
you. Bye.